Myself Yogesh Joshi from DG Analysis and Indian Chemical News. My current position is IIM Lucknow Noida campus, and we have the pleasure of having with us Dr. S. Venkat. Dr. Venkat is Associate Professor in Operations Management in IIM Lucknow. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Yogesh.
Could you tell our readers a little bit about your current profile or the kind of project that you are taking care of?
So first of all, let me wish you Happy New Year.
Thank you.
And a happy festival season.
Thank you.
And thanks for taking my news. I am here at IIM Lucknow Noida campus in the area of operations management. And I teach operations management, supply chain management, and healthcare management in particular, which is an elective. My elective is very unique in IIM system itself. For last 4 years, I'm doing this elective course. Apart from this, I also work very closely with the industry, both private and public. And my current projects includes the impact assessment of FASTag on Indian economy, and particularly logistics and supply chain, and UAPL. And the another project that I am working is developing a training modules for pharmaceutical professionals in the area of skill development for them, upskilling of the executives in pharma sector.
Okay.
That is in association with the Logistics Skill Council.
Okay.
Comes under National Skill Development.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from that, I'm also working with other organizations like Handicrafts as well as Tirupati Balaji Temple.
Okay.
And we are documenting a book on best practices in the religious organizations
Okay.
in terms of managerial innovations that is happening there.
Mm-hmm.
And also my research interest includes agriculture supply chains
Okay.
and healthcare supply chains,
Mm-hmm.
and supply chain management in less organized sector, like
Okay.
including handicrafts and
Okay.
MSMEs.
I see.
So this is what is my portfolio of activities.
Wonderful. So, on this Tirupati project, can you go a little deeper as to what is the methodology, or let's say everything that can be shared in the public domain?
As you know, Tirupati Balaji Temple is one of the richest temples in the world, and every day, I don't know how many of you as well as the others are aware,
Mm-hmm.
at nearly about 1 lakh people take darshan of Lord Balaji.
Okay.
And the Tirupati Temple provides lot of services, almost everything at free of cost,
Okay.
except a few including transportation
Mhm.
by Road Transport Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And many other things like free accommodation, free food, free prasad, the free meal service, all those things. So, in terms of providing these amenities and managing this high volume, high quality is not a normal task. Our objective of looking at this is what are the innovations that they have implemented over a period of time, and to make that document available for others for future reference, including the temple, how they can use.
Okay.
And many VIPs like President of India, Prime Minister of India, they all also visit, as you are aware.
Okay.
And in one such visit by President of India, current President of India, he has requested the temple to make a presentation of how they are managing the temple.
Okay.
And we have read that news, and myself and my guru,
Okay.
we thought we can do something on that. So
Okay.
then we approached the temple, and temple has approved that project,
I see.
and we are documenting that.
Mm-hmm.
It may come out maybe very soon.
I see.
And due to COVID, we were not able to complete it on time.
I see.
But otherwise, it is expected in next few months down the line.
I see.
Once it comes, then I will also share that news in detail.
Wonderful. So we look forward to the
Sure.
next update on the completion of the project, whenever the study is completed, and some excerpts of the study can be highlighted with
So what we looking at is, for example, now there are a lot of free services. For example, if you go to Tirupati temple, there is directly also you can reach by road. Otherwise, the footpath pilgrims would go by foot. Is most difficult thing. They will carry their luggage, they will carry their children and all. And carrying this luggage and walking about 9 kilometers hill is not a normal task.
True.
So Tirupati temple has started a free luggage service.
Okay.
It's like, you know, as you see in airports and all, you will travel by a particular airline. Your luggage will be handled separately, and you will be traveling maybe
Okay.
the other route. But at the end of the journey, when you land in your destination, you have to get your luggage. In the similar way, the pilgrim will hand over their luggage in whatever format that they bring. Of course, many a times it is open.
I see.
Open luggage and the bags, all sorts of. You will find a variety of ways of carrying things without even closer. Forget about locks.
I see.
So all these things have been carried by the temple authorities.
Okay.
And due to volumes, etc., the third party is been entrusted this job, and they will handle all these things meticulously. And a lot of IT or digital technologies have been used. For example, global positioning, locker systems, tracking of the luggage, all those things have been taken care. Nearly about 50,000 plus bags will be handled per day in one route. And also, in addition to this, no gadgets are allowed inside the temple.
I see.
Nothing, no bags, no chappals,
Acha.
no other item will be allowed inside the main temple. So all those things also will be taken care by the temple authorities, and you have to deposit with them, and they will give you a token. And then after your darshan and all is completed, you can go back and collect your baggage, including your mobile phones, etc.
Okay.
With all these things for free of cost.
Okay.
And managing this is a Herculean task, and temple is using a lot of innovative methods in that. It is one such thing. The another important thing that we can look at is darshan waiting time.
Achha.
There is a lot of waiting time happens for unscheduled, unplanned pilgrims. For pilgrims, those who are going with advance reservation is fine, but those who are going without advance reservation and all is taking a hell of a time.
I see.
So sometimes even 2-3 days also they will have to wait, but now that has been reduced drastically. A lot of such innovations have been implemented by managing queue lines.
I see.
By, for example, 3-channel queue will be used when the number of pilgrims increases beyond a limit.
Okay.
So per hour, they generally about 3 to 3,500 people can take darshan.
Okay.
In normal time, when the pilgrim flow is increased, then they will operate in a 2-channel, 3-channel kind of thing.
Okay.
In fact, I have published a paper on the same matter in the International Journal,
Okay.
at least about 3-4 years back itself.
Wonderful.
That is one. Second, the darshan thing. And the third important thing is after darshan, most of the pilgrims, they go and take this meal, which is taken as the prasad.
Okay.
And this prasad is being prepared in a very, very hygienic way. It is also documented by National Geographic Channel
Okay.
on mega kitchens of India, as well as
Yes.
very exclusive video about 40-45 minutes you will find in
We have seen it,
YouTube
actually.
also you will
Right.
find. So this free meal service is one of the unique services, and the quality and the volume is unimaginable. And apart from serving this at one location, recently this has been taken out to a number of other places. Those who are waiting in the queues, those who are waiting at the bus stops, and many other places, the food is being served. Nearly today, about 2 lakh plus, close to 2.5 lakh food servings have been served. It is a mammoth exercise. So our project is looking at documenting all these things. I must tell you one more thing. Nearly about 5 to 7 tons of vegetables, all vegetables will come on donation.
Okay.
The entire vegetables comes from donors, and they deliver most of the items. They deliver at the Tirumala Hills
Okay.
and at their own cost.
Okay.
So, and even the agencies that are operating on for cutting off this vegetables itself is a mammoth exercise.
Wonderful,
So these are
wonderful.
some of the things
Wonderful.
that we are going to
On
bring
the
about.
pharma side also, you spoke about little bit about some transformation which is required,
Yeah.
scaling or.
Yes. If you look at now the COVID, many ways the COVID is a very, very big opportunity for a country like India. In fact, I spoke about this some time back. And what are the industries that are going to help to recover the economy, not only for India but for the rest of the world also? Healthcare and pharma, hospitals and pharma sector is going to be the leading
Okay.
economic recovery sectors.
Okay.
In that, India is going to be, of course, a number of experts also spoke about India as a hub for the world in terms of pharma industry. The pharma industry in India particularly need to scale up in both in terms of volume and skill. So we got a request from National Skill Development Corporation of the Government of India organization, through them Logistics Skill Council, for building up capacity building, particularly for pharma sector. In that context, developing a training modules or a training material, and of course facilitating to some extent for capacity building is included. What we are looking at is how crucial is the supply chain and materials management aspects, and we need to build that capacity particularly in our country. So this exercise is aimed at building learning resources for capacity building for pharma sector, particularly in supply chain management area. So that is the second project I am involved. One which I will be involving myself soon is on handicrafts. And of course, the toys is a very important segment of our economy.
Okay.
As we have already seen, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji also mentioning about toy industry has to be given all the possible support in terms of building infrastructure, in terms of building skills, design, etc., etc. In that context, out of my experience and interest, I am associated with the Handicrafts Department, Development Commissioner Handicrafts. We will be taking up a small project on Kalamkari products and making them more viable in the context of Andhra Pradesh. And this project is supported by Development Commissioner Handicrafts.
I see.
So this is the third project I will be taking up very soon, but it will take some more time.
Quite exciting, Dr. Venkat. All the projects that you are currently working on has a unique story to tell,
Yes.
So my leading question now, is to you is, in most of the projects, couple of things which I am observing or hearing is, first is the COVID side of COVID. Like there is an uninvited guest who is actually barged into our personal as well as professional space. Second thing is digitization, digital transformation. So from a academia perspective, how do you see these two, one is the bad side, other one is the good side? How,
So the bad side, let me say a couple of words on bad side. The bad side is that, the economy, more than the health, the economy of the country as well as the rest of the world also is got affected. But at the same time, COVID has made almost everybody in the world to realize and to adopt the inevitable technologies like digital transformation, digital platforms, etc. And the way the digitization of almost every sector that is happening is much faster than what is expected. For example, today almost everybody 60 to 70% of their requirements have been met by home delivery, and digitization is the way forward, and including education institutions. We almost now the last 7-8 months we are doing it online, and most probably we will be shifting to normal mode also, but the blended mode of learning is going to be the way forward as far as education is concerned at all levels, both higher education as well as at school level. When it comes to health, a lot of digital transformation is happening in health. Since I work in the area of healthcare, so I've also seen how hospitals or healthcare system is gearing up, both private and public, is going to pay a lot of way forward, and of course the health is going to be reaching almost every part of the world and nook and corner of the country also. Earlier, digitization and due to lack of digital technologies, digital infrastructure, making this healthcare delivery at remote places was becoming difficult. Even today, it is difficult, but there is a lot of transformation that's happening, a lot of IT infrastructure that is getting developed. So, the healthcare is going to be more equitable, and the cost of healthcare delivery also is going to reduce drastically. Particularly for a country like India, it is going to be a boom. And added to this, already existing scheme like Ayushman Bharat is going to be a big enabler for making this digital health reachable for all parts of the country. I think it is going to be a big opportunity for insurance companies as well as the government as well as the private healthcare system. So that is on the healthcare front. And when it comes to logistics and other aspects of supply chain, organizations, both small and bigger organizations, have come forward, and a lot of collaboration is happening. I would call this as the COVID versus rest of the world. I would say this is a COVID-driven supply chains or digital-driven supply chains.
Okay.
I would call it as, I have written an article also on the same thing, responsible supply chain.
Okay.
So now this all the supply chains have to be responsible. They have to play a very big role of not looking at only profits or cost, etc. But they have to be responsible. For example, what I mean responsible is, due to this COVID, lot of unemployment, lot of job loss has happened. But many companies will also retain their manpower, thinking that it will come back, and that is the good way to forward. So the responsible supply chains are going to be the future of this. And in fact, the COVID has made the entire world to realize the two things. Everybody now, including school children at school level, knows what is the impact of COVID and how COVID can affect. And particularly supply chain has become a buzzword. Thanks to our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, where he spoke about 5-4 things during lockdown. One of them is explicitly talking about supply chain.
Correct.
So Prime Minister of India talking about supply chain is a really a wonderful thing for the everyone in the country to realize what is that supply chain. It has become a very big knowledge repository for everyone.
True.
So we are hoping that everybody will become better knowledgeable in terms of supply chain.
Wonderful.
So the supply chain driven economy and particularly digital and COVID is going to make supply chains more responsible and more sustainable. So that's my take on that.
Wonderful. So let's.
And in fact, the artificial intelligence and machine learning, these digital platforms are going to make supply chain much more vibrant and reliable, and people can see what's happening, where it is happening. I can get to see where is my item. I want to add one more thing. During this recession time, I don't know whether you are aware or not, a lot of new products started coming up into the market.
Correct.
For example, these handloom saris. People sitting at home and seeing the complete product on WhatsApp video and making purchases online.
True.
Immediately. So I think that kind of segments which are not main part of marketing channels have become new channels have emerged due to COVID.
Absolutely.
Thanks to the simple phone is a powerful weapon. The COVID is so now the COVID, I would say the people, the society is using mobile phone as the main weapon to fight against the COVID war.
Wonderfully.
Of course, it is a.
Wonderfully
I won't call it as a digital-driven economy. It is a just one phone-driven economy.
Wonderful. So a smartphone can actually
Absolutely.
change your lives.
Exactly. A lot of new areas of business have emerged, and people are buying left, right, center.
Okay,
Particularly these, traditional dress materials.
I see.
Those things are directly contacting the weavers, and then they are showing how they have been manufacturing.
Wonderful.
And directly coming from them.
And all happening digitally.
All happening digitally without you stepping out.
Wonderful. That's amazing to know that the
In
digital
fact,
is playing such an important role.
without quoting a personal example, just now my wife also got one saree from Andhra
Okay.
Pradesh, directly from weaver,
Arey wah,
and
wonderful.
at weaver's price.
Wonderful.
And
That's
today this
so
they are
exciting.
talking now. They are talking the terminology. Now I got this on weaver's price.
Wow.
Because MRP has gone now.
I know. Viewers
People-
price will
viewers
definitely be
price.
lower than the
Much
MRP.
lower than that.
Very true. That's a pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
The people are getting much more. I think this disintermediation of supply chain is happening very fast,
Okay.
and that is where it is going to be the way forward.
Wonderful. So one last question, sir.
Yeah.
From an academia standpoint, what would be your 2 cents of advice to the aspiring
Okay.
students?
Wonderful. I think I have already mentioned in one of my sessions earlier, is that COVID has made everybody to realize what is going to be the future. I would call it as a COVID is a change for prescription for change.
Okay.
I call it as COVID is not anything else.
Okay.
It's a prescription for change
I see.
and change for good.
Wonderful.
That's number one. And number two, having said this, what is that change and how we have to address this issue? Both academia, both teachers and students have to reinvent the same stuff what we were doing earlier. How do we make it relevant in the context of our post-COVID era?
I see.
And when I am teaching supply chain, this year I have changed my supply chain course drastically
Okay.
compared to last time.
Okay.
And my opening session itself is your supply chains COVID ready?
Okay.
So there is a huge change in academia, particularly. I think higher education institutions like IITs and IIMs and even other institutions have to take the lead of coming out with a cutting edge learning resources and making our students industry ready.
Okay.
So there is a huge scope, and of course there is a regular classroom training as well as industry training. Even the industry needs extraordinary skills in view of this.
Okay.
Because this COVID has made everybody to sharpen their attitude. It's a more of a behavioral as well as educational change that has to happen.
Okay.
So academia and industry and government has to come together in both behavioral change in the learnings, also appropriate learning systems in place. For example, even IIM is coming out with a wonderful digital infrastructure. What was there earlier was not sufficient. I would call it as the supply chains. Among all supply chains, the most stressed supply chain is software supply chains.
True.
There was a PhD what was submitted recently in our institute also. Software supply chains.
Okay.
Yeah, software supply chains
Quite
was
interesting.
quite interesting. In fact, we have to interview that guy.
Acha.
He is from Maruti.
Okay.
And he has just got his degree awarded.
Wonderful.
And you should talk to him. I will give you his contact also.
Wonderful. We would
Yeah.
love to. see.
And I think supply chains, among all supply chains, it is the software supply chains which are disrupted much more than any other supply chains. Right.
Thank you so much, Dr. Venkat, for speaking with us, and we wish you and your team all the best and success in completing your projects beautifully. And also look forward to summary of these projects so that we can try to spread it to
Sure.
the right audience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay safe, stay secure, and stay healthy.
Thank
stay
you.
happy.
Thank you, Yogesh, and the entire team at DG Analysis and
Indian
India
Chemical
Chemical
News.
News. Wish you all the best once again.
Thanks
Thank you.
once again.